Good afternoon, everybody. It's 4:20 p.m. 9/11, historic day. 22 years ago. We all know what happened. It's the biggest psychological operation probably in the history of the country. But here's to remembering all the people who lost their lives on 9/11 and all the people that have lost their lives in Maui 22 years later. So on that topic, we're going to continue with part 3 of the Mark M. Rich booklet, The Hidden Evil Tactics, State-Sponsored Smear Campaigns, part 3, The Hidden Evil. We're going to talk about thefts and break-ins and framings, employment, lack of employment, etc. So this is part 3, Mark M. Rich, State-Sponsored Government Surveillance. Thefts and break-ins, this happens in and around the home as well as the workplace. If the target is fortunate enough to be employed, thefts may be reduced to small, inexpensive items, but some targets have reported jewelry, passports, and other important items stolen. Small things such as pens, shoes, and silverware are taken or tampered with so that you will seem delusional if you report this to the police. The logic is that a thief would never break into your home and leave a computer, stereo, or other valuables and just steal a toothbrush or pour out a portion of your milk. There's usually no sign of forced entry. That's not always true, folks. This is the case even if there is a high-tech security system in place. Psychological warfare tactics are sometimes employed, such as moving bits of furniture or clothing slightly out of place. Items may be stolen and brought back at a later date, and they may move items and place them in a slightly different spot. This is done to let you know that they've been in your home. These cults, C-U-L-T-S, are obsessed with all objects and aspects of a targeted person's life. Personal items may be passed around to group members of the cult and are apparently symbolic of the control the group has over their target. And I'm going to add that in a cult, they perform rituals with your personal items because your personal items are marked with your energy, your handprint, your fingerprint. If they steal your hairbrush, your hair is in there, right? They'll go into your garbage pail. These losers, they don't care. They'll go into your garbage pail and steal your garbage. Gaslighting tactics may be employed, such as filling your gas tank or substituting items of clothing with ones a size smaller. Targets have reported clothing being ripped, milk, coffee, and other items poured out, and small-scale damage. Surreptitious break-ins, thefts, sabotage, and planting of drugs, bugs, and other items in people's homes and offices were a staple part of COINTELPRO. They may also take items from your car and plant them in your home, and vice versa. Framings. This can be done over the internet with Trojan horse viruses. Since they have federal connections, they do have the ability to frame a target person for crimes out in the public, as well as using informants. Any weakness a person has can be used in one of these setups. Wait, I just skipped a little too far. 1 second, folks. But they may be added to a case file to assist with a smear campaign. They may also try to provoke a confrontation when mobbing you out in public. Oh yeah, we've all experienced that, folks. Sabotage and vandalism. This happens at home and in the workplace. Electronic equipment may constantly be failing. This may be accomplished with the E-bomb or similar device. Projects you worked on the previous day may become broken. Many times this vandalism is usually just below what you'd report to the police. For instance, a small but noticeable portion of your masonry has been chipped off and cracked, and has appeared in one of your windows. Again, frequency and duration. This may be restricted to minor vandalism just to let you know that you're being stalked. However, large-scale property damage is also done to vehicles, such as slashed tires, broken windows, tampering with brake lines, destruction of electronic equipment. Vandalism and pets being tortured may also be in retaliation for you taking action to expose them. Oh well. In addition, you may have dead animals and litter thrown on your yard. Yep, check mark. Some targets have reported that their pets die suddenly of mysterious illness. Yeah, times 26 here in rural Kentucky. No, actually, that's going on 28 in rural Kentucky. The list is endless back in New Jersey, and I've received countless emails from people whose pets have been harmed. For instance, they come into your home and find a perfectly healthy, dead animal. Others have noticed that their pets have become mutilated. Yep. Mail interference. During old COINTELPRO, they would blatantly watch homes, follow cars, and open mail. The idea was to get as much info as possible to aid in the harassment and intimidation. Currently, some targets also experience tampering with mail, altering, delaying, or disappearing, and email being filtered or blocked. These cause stalking groups may use children to steal your mail, or they may enlist the aid of the post office. Pranks. Yeah, this happens all the time, folks. Pranks. You may receive pranks by people and recordings. The pranks may pertain to an important event that is unfolding in your personal life. Once again, information gleaned from surveillance is used for harassment. Right, that's the only reason why they're surveilling you, is to harass you. The phone has historically been an excellent harassment tool. It is also used as a synchronization tactic. You may also have people knocking on your door for whatever reason. Blacklisting. Gang stalking groups will interfere with every personal and business relationship you have. Since they are sanctioned by the state, they can easily keep you unemployed. Job opportunities will be trashed. They get paid to make sure that you don't. Most targeted people are unemployed. Many would be homeless if it weren't for parents, siblings, or friends. If you're targeted and are lucky enough to still be employed, you may be harassed into leaving your employer and coworkers. You may have a successful interview and are virtually guaranteed the job, but you never hear from the prospective employer, and they don't return your calls and tell you what went wrong. Oh, I just scrolled up a little bit too much, folks. 1 second. If you're blacklisted and you're harassed, you will probably not be able to prove it. Like all mobbing and organized stalking tactics, it will be heavily concealed. Unless you know someone who owns a business or can get you in someplace, you will probably be unemployed. At best, you may be underemployed. If you do find some type of work or employment, you may be mobbed out of the door after several weeks. That's horrible, folks. That's just absolutely despicable. During an interview, you may have a potential employer's demanding credentials that they did not list as a requirement in their ad. During phone interviews, you may have employers telling you that you responded to an ad other than the one you actually responded to. They may also tell you that they did not place the ad, or that they placed a slightly different one. They may also tell you that your updated resume says you're currently working at a place that you never worked at, or a place that you worked at a decade ago. Some harassment is masked in layers of accommodation to help strengthen the illusion that you're not working because you don't choose to. For instance, you may have recruiters who have harassed you in the past leave messages on your answering machine or with relatives and friends indicating that there is an opportunity available to you. It will be made to look as if you're unemployed due to your choice. This is the equivalent of standing in a crowd of people and stealthily poking a person in the back while others aren't looking. The general public may not realize that the blacklisting mechanism exists because the institutions that use it operate most major news outlets. Reporters and historians are blacklisted for reporting corruption or historical facts that the government corporate complex does not want the public to be aware of. So let me skip down here and go on to collisions and cutoffs. The cutoffs I'm talking about are usually not physical. They're fabricated, like most gang stalking tactics. They're designed to look like normal cutoffs that we all experience from time to time. They can happen with vehicles on foot or in combination. This type of space invasion is designed to startle you and create tension. It can be thought of as a virtual slap. They are used in blind areas such as corners, hallways, restrooms, or intersections where you constantly have people or cars cutting you off or almost hitting you. The perpetrator is unseen until he jumps out in front of you. This happens in stores, buildings, and on the street with people and vehicles. Generally, anywhere there is a blind corner. With some artificially induced cutoffs, the perpetrator is seen at a distance. You and the perpetrators are heading toward the same focal point. It may be a corner, a very small walkway, or a path that cannot accommodate both of you. They will adjust their timing and rhythm to yours so that they always meet you at that point, so that you will have to squeeze through, stop, or go around because of their deliberate adjustment of timing. The idea is to get your attention and make you uncomfortable. If you're a target, their timing will mirror yours so that a collision will occur. In a normal situation, both parties will naturally adjust their timing and rhythm to avoid the situation. The main objective is to cause an unnecessary inconvenience. Again, these are usually not physical collisions. They are designed to invade your space and make you uncomfortable. In addition, people have reported staged accidents with their cars and narrowly escaping death. The frequency, duration, location, and proximity, where early in the morning on the day it's not crowded and it's normal to have people repeatedly cutting you off inside stores with their shopping carts or jumping in front of you just as you enter a checkout line or out on the street. These collisions amount to an obstacle course that follows you wherever you go, and this is only a part of the harassment. There is blocking, swarming, and space invasion in parking lots, on foot, and on the road, in stores and restaurants. These are staged events that may temporarily prevent you from leaving if you're in a parking lot. You will always have people that you have to go around or say, "Excuse me," to, and people stopping short in front of you to tie their shoe or pick up a coin. Body language is more accurate and reliable than verbal communication, and a majority of these nonverbal behaviors, such as mirroring, echoing, and pointing, take place without conscious awareness. We point with our feet, our torso, our arms, and hands, usually toward an object we're interested in. Also, our eyes have a natural tendency to follow hand movement toward an object being pointed at. Most of this is nonverbal communication. It's unconscious, and that is, unless you make it conscious. If you make some of these unconscious communication behaviors conscious, you will probably have a powerful means of persuasion. The study of this language has been called social kinetics. It's the study of body communication. So there are two components, which is movements, gestures, and postures, and then the spatial relationships. This type of communication is used to harass a person. For instance, while in stores, restaurants, and public places that are not busy, the target will have people crowding around them, invading their personal space. This happens even if there are only 2 customers in the store. And if a person makes a move from one place to another in the store, several people may suddenly appear and jump out in front of him or from around corners and aisles. This is a common experience reported, the sudden movement of a crowd of people into a checkout line that the target is moving toward. This blitz attacks also happens outside. This can be detected by getting up and moving in one direction, then stopping and watching. If you're targeted, you'll see a wave of people move in the direction that you were heading towards to swarm you and cut you off. If you wait for a few moments, you'll see that activity will settle back to normal again after they pass. This test can be run indoors or outdoors as well. Sometimes they may blatantly adjust their timing or linger for a while until you begin to move again. Then they'll continue. This program was tailored to represent a target as someone suffering from schizophrenia when explained to health professionals. This is no surprise. The intelligence community has worked extensively with the psychiatric industry. Prolonged crowding can have an extremely negative effect on your mental and emotional health. The people who designed this harassment program were all well aware of this. While some cultures may be more immune to crowding than others, even people from parts of this world that have been historically crowded react stressfully to crowding. People who have not been invited to your intimate space but deliberately violate it are committing acts of violence. You hear that, folks? The people that participate may justify their behavior because they serve a quote-unquote a greater cause. And they don't see their behavior as acts of violence, but the culmination of these tactics amount to no less than soul murder. If you are an organized stalking target, you'll be followed on foot and swarmed wherever you go out in public, even a day or time where there's normally not many people. This happens in stores while making purchases, restaurants, businesses, where you have people constantly cutting you off, invading your space, using sensitivity programs, and other harassment tactics. Sometimes this is blatantly obvious. For instance, if you're in a fitness center at a time when it's not crowded, but you have multiple people who are, instead of taking the short path to their destination, continue to go to the trouble of triple the distance just so they can brush you or cut you off. These collisions and crowdings amount to an obstacle course that follows you wherever you go. And this is only part of the harassment. So, folks, I'm going to end here on that note, and we'll move on to part 4 at a later date and time. I hope everybody's having a good day. This is Lorraine Alternative Homesteading, exposing one criminal at a time. Welcome, newcomers. Welcome back to my channel, everybody. Please hit the thumbs up. It helps the channel grow and get the message out there, because we all know that the criminals out there watching the channel are downvoting it. So I hope everybody's doing well, and I will sign off and talk to you soon.